our online event, The Art of Wanting, with Laura Campbell, Transition Strategist, who is a member of our Over 40 Females New York City Chapter Speakers Board and has been a member for about 3 years now. So grateful for her loyalty and support. Thank you, Laura. I'm Judy Goss, the founder and CEO, and thrilled to be here once again for our monthly online event today. We have started having more online teleseminars every week besides our monthly one. And today is an entire event with a raffle prize, but you have to stay till the end, just like at the live events, and member introductions just like the ones that thousands of women are attending across the country every month in person. Please visit our calendar on the website, over40females.com, for a full listing of our educational offerings and events online. Okay, just some brief announcements and quickly about who we are. Over 40 Females is a nationally acclaimed live and online networking community. I'm sure, as you already know, as members, over40females.com, it's specifically tailored for women over the age of 40 that speaks to women in transition, no matter what type of transition. And I believe most of you already know this, but if there are some newbies out there, I just want to quickly explain that whether we're learning about building our businesses or careers, financial issues to help us get set up for retirement, figuring out how or when or where to get a divorce, unraveling social media secrets, collaborating with each other to help one another, or simply to teach you how to further yourself or your careers, we are all in this together. And together we will learn and persevere to lift this over 40 female demographic up to new heights with each other. Now, this was my vision from the very beginning. And when I founded this company 4 years ago, that is what I wanted to do. And we're doing it, ladies. So thank you for helping me do it together. Okay, we are in the process of building our online community. And to better support each other and every one of you, we are growing this online community to help us explode the power of our women over 40. Now, we know there are other women out there, just like you and me, who are feeling isolated and overwhelmed, absolutely, and we know that we can help. So the more women that we get to join us, the more opportunities over 40 females can find for all of you, and the more women we can reach and impact. It's so exciting. Over 40 Females did start with a vision to give a voice and a platform to women over 40, and we don't want to leave anyone out around the world. So if you know women who do not have a Connect Live chapter in their area, here is their chance to become the founding members of the online community if they sign up before February 16th. Now, what does this mean? It means they'll get a whole slew of exclusive bonuses like strategies for building their networks, our networks, presenting yourselves in front of audiences, tips and know-how to build their businesses or careers. And of course, the opportunity to create a brand. Our brand, Over 40 Females, a new division that is going global as cornerstone members of the Over 40 Females online community. And the most important part, of course, connecting, encouraging, and inspiring, that's our motto, other women every day. So please pass the word on. We've just opened up this new opportunity, and we'll be closing it midnight, February 16th, for the VIP founding members of this community. And speaking of community, we are constantly getting our members noticed and in the press. And this time it was a member from New York City, Jerry Stengel. We put Julia Kime from Chicago on her own segment on NBC, all by herself with Anchor. And also last month, Helen Powers from Connecticut was booked on her own segment on NBC Connecticut and now has a recurring role on the show. So we're proud of the fact that we are constantly getting our members up and out there and so much recognition for their businesses. All right, I just want to remind you, please go and log onto the website. We're going to start this, we're going to bring Laura Campbell on in just a few seconds, so I just want to say a few more things. If you could just please go on and log into the website after this teleseminar or later today and take advantage of the online benefits. We're offering all these online benefits like the profiles so we can promote you, and also your own blogs where you can post your own blogs, and then we'll help promote through our very robust social media, tens of thousands of members and fans and followers all over the place. There's also messaging between members, forum discussions, and a lot of things back there. So go in and take advantage of it. We, as women over 40, sometimes get a little behind in the online world, and we're here to help you with that and to really promote and push you out there. So fill out your profiles. And also, we pick members from what they write in their profiles to present for TV segments, press features, website features. We're now writing a book, a kind of chicken soup for the soul type book, and we're looking for women to feature like that. And the author is literally going into the profiles and looking for women to feature. So, one more way, What Women Want. It's another way to get your story or your business promoted and out there. If you want to be considered to be interviewed, our members get top priority. So What Women Want Talk Radio, we have over 5,000 listeners a month now after only a few months on air. It's every Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Email us pitches at whatwomenwantshow@gmail.com. I believe it's right there on the slide. I am constantly looking for guests to interview. Okay, we range in topics, a doctor that found a vaccine to cure the breast cancer virus, to tarot card readers. So we have run the gamut of topics on the air, and we love it, and we love featuring women, so please email us. I actually had my tarot cards read on the air. It's a little stressful, but it's very informative. Okay. On the screen right now are states that we are currently located in. So if you want to attend events in person also, go onto our website, over40females.com, under locations. There may be one near you. Or if you want to open one yourself, current members are loving it. Let us know if you want to open a chapter in your area if you don't have one. One of our members from Fairfield, I believe, actually Fairfield and Westchester, I heard this from, that they didn't leave the house when they were depressed except to go to an Over 40 Females networking event. And that just makes me so proud and honored to have this company and to be able to provide that for them. And you know what? It is something that us women need pretty much every month at least. So come on out and join us. Or you can just join us here online every month as well. We are trying very hard. So come on in. All right, a raffle slide. We have a hair beauty bag, revitalizing your hair, a mask treatment, conditioner, vitamins, all helping you get awesomely great-looking hair. Love that. My hair is just getting dry and losing it all the time. To win the raffle, please post a question right on your screen during Laura's presentation. So here's your chance, free advice and a chance to win our raffle prize. Good combo. Okay, and now I'm very proud to say that Laura Campbell is on the line with us, our transition strategist for Over 40 Females. Laura is the CEO of Laura W. Campbell Enterprises, where she guides women to intentionally create the life they deserve and the love they deserve. Laura is a transition strategist, truth guide, author, coach, and widely recognized expert in self-acceptance and living an authentic life full of love, with a specialization in women moving through divorce. She has an MBA in strategic planning from New York University, New York University Stern School of Business, and is a certified life and career coach, and has trained with the Anthony Robbins Institute to create a practice that supports women through real life transitions. Now, Laura, I have seen you work with people. I have seen you write. You're a phenomenal writer. You are such a great inspiration to every woman out there, whether they're going through divorce or not. And I'm thrilled to know you for the past few years.
It is such my pleasure to be here. You know that I am I guess I'm what's called an Over 40 Females groupie, perhaps. You've known that for a long time. I'm a Judy Goss groupie because I am so passionate about, everything that you and the organization stands for women, and I believe that together, collectively, we're stronger than any one of us individually. So,
yes, and we couldn't do it without people like you, honestly. So thank you so much. I'm so grateful.
My pleasure, my pleasure. And I'm here to talk about wanting. And it's interesting because when we talk about wanting, women tend to shy away from that. We don't really like the way that sounds. Probably back to the days of Willy Wonka, right? When I don't even, I think it was Violet. So when, I want it and I want it now, gave all young girls and women kind of a way to go, ooh, that sounds so self-serving and so selfish. And I am working really hard to turn that around and to allow women the opportunity to sink into and embrace wanting more in their lives, because I think we all do want more, and I think that wanting more is a critical piece of success in our lives, in our relationships, and in our businesses.
Absolutely, and working with women like you only gets us that faster.
Yes, I agree. So I'm hoping that everyone is seeing my slides. So really we're talking about creating more of what you want in your life and in your business. And when we talk about wanting more, we well, we often don't talk about it until we hit moments in our life that challenge us, and usually are times of loss and times of upheaval and times of uncertainty. So for me, so many know my story. I'm not going to go into it in great length today, but it really 10 years ago, actually, 10 years ago, my life was in upheaval, and it was around my divorce. And at that point, I didn't realize that it was going to be just the loss of my marriage and my relationship, but it really was a significant crossroads that left me asking, what was it that I really wanted? And I knew in my heart, I knew in my soul that I wanted more. And I finally heard what I call my wildly screaming soul voice, which had been silently and somewhat quietly trying to let me know that it wanted more. I just wasn't listening. And I think we all can look at our lives and see little breadcrumbs or little red flags. Sometimes they're glaring, but little red flags that kind of poke at us that where we are, what we're doing, what we're experiencing isn't enough. And because we want to not feel self-serving and selfish, we tend not to listen to them. But we're going to talk today about wanting more of what makes you feel good and what makes you feel alive. Because what happens when you realize that you've lost touch with who you are and that somewhere along the way you've turned off your own life? That's what happened for me. And as I've worked with hundreds of women over these years, I've heard their stories, and maybe it's your story of getting to that moment when you realize that you've lost touch with who you are. And at that moment, it's extremely difficult to really understand and to answer the questions of how do I now take the steps to get what I want, and what does that look like, and how am I supposed to say that? So 10 years ago, my divorce was really the beginning of the rest of my life. And I share my story usually only to let you know that you're not alone. And maybe my story resonates with you, and maybe there's someone in your life for whom it resonates with. But I think that sometimes it's those extra pounds, maybe there's a vacancy in our eyes, the absence of laughter or fun or adventure in our lives that say something different than our polished, well-dressed, overly fit, and uber-busy lives. Being busy, ladies, isn't living. And I know that underneath that crazy busy life that we all lead, that there is a woman, a better version of yourself, a woman who wants more, ready to emerge. And the question is, how do we let her out? And how do we go about getting more of everything that we want? Because you are a high-powered corporate professional or a committed mother, a community leader, a business owner, entrepreneur, or because you take care of others, you earn a significant salary, or you've chosen to stay home and raise your children, it does not mean that you forfeit your desire for more as a woman or your right to it. We deserve more of everything we want in our lives. As I've told my kids over and over again, it's really all about me. Because when it's all about me, it can be all about you. And I believe that when it's all about us, it can be all about those who we love the most, those that we want to serve through the work that we're doing in the world, and more for the person that we love and we've decided to spend our life with. So I guess I'll ask each of you to think about, what is it that you want? What is it that you really, really, really want? And when was the last time that you indulged yourself in simply the art of wanting? So wanting is what keeps us alive. And I know that that's uncomfortable for many women. I did a workshop this past weekend, and it was very interesting when we went around in a circle and we all spoke about what it is that we truly want. And I would say that more than half of the women started their conversation by expressing how happy and grateful, how much gratitude they have in their life, and how they want to be appreciative of everything that they already have created. And as I listened and I watched them, I realized we always feel, women especially, there's something wrong if we state out loud what we want. Somehow it seems that it is selfish or inappropriate or irresponsible to speak out loud of the things that we really want. You know, I don't believe that's the case. We can be grateful. We can have gratitude. We can have deep appreciation for everything in our life and still want more. More of all of it, more love, more adventure, more financial success, more sex, more depth, more connection, and absolutely more meaning. And when you can master the art of wanting, you will find the passion, the motivation, and the discipline to make it happen. If we stop wanting more, we don't create the incentive we need to want more in order to find and create what it is that we want to create in our life. So I want to give you a couple of steps or tips on how you can begin your own journey to wanting more. And then at the end of this, at the end of our time, I think we're going to be able to have some questions and answers, and I can certainly go more into any specifics that you have. So the first step is to really acknowledge and to own and to give ourselves permission for wanting more, and then make a commitment to it, to really commit to wanting more as a way of life. Knowing it and creating what you want is a daily discipline. It's not something that we pull out of a toolbox every now and again or out of the closet and we dust it off. It's not something that we say next year, after the first of the year, after my 50th birthday, after my kids go to college, after, that's when I'm going to seek out more in my life, because you and I, we all know shit happens. Things happen in our lives that challenge us. Our friends are diagnosed with breast cancer. Our parents get ill and pass on. Our husbands often and partners lose their jobs or find themselves in a different time of crisis. Our children hit major roadblocks in their own life. So we cannot put off till tomorrow what in our hearts we know we want today. So know that wanting more for yourself, it's a way of life. And it gives permission to your children, to your spouse or your partner, to your clients. It gives them permission to want more for themselves as well. And ultimately, we as women, listen, we want to take care of, right? We want to nurture and take care of and support and serve and make a difference in the world. And the way that we can do that is to invite others to want more of everything that they want to feel in their lives. And we can lead them by showing them just how to do that. If you aren't used to and it's uncomfortable for you to say it out loud, and I know for many women it is really hard to start to speak up, whether it's with your husband and saying, I want more intimacy and connection and sex, whether it's with your kids saying, I want more time with you, or I need some time for myself so that I can come to my time with you feeling even better, or to say to our friends, I need and want more meaning and purpose in my life, so I'm going to start to do things that, are out of my comfort zone. It's an uncomfortable process if you're not used to it. So I strongly suggest, if you're struggling with not knowing what wanting more even means for yourself, to create an awareness journal. Not knowing and feeling overwhelmed is a beautiful place to begin, because it allows for infinite opportunities to really dive into the things that you may have never spoken out loud. I believe your soul is talking to you all the time about what it wants, but we have to learn to listen. So an awareness journal is a wonderful way to begin to let those things out without having to speak them necessarily. So it is really the best way for you to begin your journey. And the things you should be keeping an eye out for would be the things that make you feel good. Anything that makes you feel good. Pictures, Pinterest images, whatever makes you feel good, put it in this journal. Music that kind of makes you move, write it down. Write down, what is the song? Who is the artist? Experiences that you have, even if they weren't intended, do them. If you're watching a movie and you see something and you're like, ooh, I want me some of that, write down what that is. I mean, let's be honest, ladies. When 50 Shades of Grey came out, I happened to have been on vacation like that first month when it blew open. And I have to tell you, I took a long walk on the beach, and every single woman who was reading a book on the beach was reading 50 Shades of Grey. And I was simply struck by, there's something in that book, I hadn't even read it, that everybody wants. And they want them some of that. And when I read it, I was like, oh, yeah, we all would like just a little kind of edgy, a little unexpected, a little out of our comfort zone in our own lives. I believe it's not just in love and romance, it's in our lives that there are things that we want to try, we want to dabble in. This is your time. Again, I'm going to say it again. Don't put off until tomorrow what your soul tells you it wants today. So get yourself a little awareness journal and start writing in it. The next thing is what
Laura,
I call...
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just want to
Yep.
tell the listeners that our message box, I don't believe, is working. So if you have any questions, please email us at info@over40females.com, which someone actually did, and they want to stay anonymous, but they told us that the box wasn't there and they were going to email us. So feel free, anybody else, if you want to. And her question is...
Ooh, I love it.
She's smart, right? This one's a good one. What if you say you want something aloud and you get a negative response from a friend or husband? How do you come back from it?
I love that question because that is at the crux of the issue of wanting more. What happens when we want more? Okay, this is where we kind of drop the bullshit and get really raw and real. And this is the part that I love the most. And so whoever asked that question, I'm throwing you a huge kiss. So the problem with wanting more is that oftentimes when we want more, we don't say it aloud because we know that if we do, number one, we're going to have to take action. And number two, someplace, somewhere, somehow, there's going to be some shit that hits the fan. I learned this actually because of my divorce. I was so scared to speak out and absolutely say out loud that I wanted more in my marriage, because I knew if I spoke out and said what I wanted, that there was a good potential that my marriage would not survive. And that's the fear and the overwhelm. So I get it and I understand. But here's what I want to say to all of you who are listening. If you start an awareness journal and you begin to just let it out a little bit, maybe you don't say it out loud or you don't say it to anyone quite yet. Taking it out of the box, putting it on the table, looking at it, and then preparing for what might happen and creating some strategies around how to take action. That's what I do. That's at the crux of what a transition strategist does. It helps you to say your truth out loud and create a strategy for talking to those who love you most, even when what you want is going to ruffle some feathers. It's going to make others around you uncomfortable. That's not a reason for you not to say what it is that you want. And I could go on for hours about this because it is so hard. And as women, we are peacemakers. We don't like to say it. We don't want anybody to be upset with us. We certainly don't want our marriages to end. We certainly don't want our children to hate us. We definitely don't want to be fired from our jobs. And we don't want to lose clients. So we just don't say anything at all. So I hope that begins to answer the question. I want to assure all of you that whatever it is that you want deep in your soul, there's a way for you to have it. But I'm going to be honest with you, it will ruffle some feathers. It's going to change certain things. And there's going to be an opportunity for you to move forward in the way that you want. So, Judy, that's an amazing question.
Yeah, that was an amazing question, and that was an amazing answer. So, kudos to you.
It's the real deal. It's the real deal of why women don't ask for what it is that they want. And we often hear about that in the way of corporate women, right? That they don't negotiate, they don't get paid, what they deserve, and they don't get the raises or the promotions because they don't want to ask, and they don't want to say it out loud because they're afraid they'll lose their jobs. And yet we're being told all the time that we should speak of what we want. That's why we're not getting it. But it's very hard to do that.
Yeah, and I think it's great that you told them to write it down, because eventually if you write it down so much, that will give you the confidence and the power and almost like a backup within you, that when you do finally say it, you know that really is it.
It is. There's a sense of knowing, and at the same time, there's a sense of fear. Oh my God!
Right.
Now what? Now what do I do with this? That I know what I want, but maybe I'm not even sure that I can get it, and I'm not even sure that those around me will support me. And it's risky, and I get that. But there's a way to navigate that and to do it, in a way that feels good and that honors who we are as women, in a kind and compassionate way. And that's why I talk about your trust muscle. And trust is a funny thing, but we also, as women, are always looking for confirmation and affirmation and approval for what it is that we know that we want, right? I've actually had women who have come, every single woman on this call, know what's in your best interest. You know what you want. I know you do. Deep down, you absolutely know what you want. You can trust yourself because you're trustworthy. You don't need anybody's affirmation or confirmation about it. What you may need is just support on how to say it out loud, and then the steps to take so that you can begin the journey to getting it.
So I'm curious at that. What do you tell them is the next step for someone like that?
That is entirely based around what it is that you want, right? If someone says, I hate my job, I hate it, I am so miserable and unhappy, I don't think I can stand it another day. The next step would not be to just quit that day, because that leaves a lot of unanswered questions and a lot of uncertainty. So what I often do with women is to say, okay, well, if we can establish that you hate your job, let's talk about what it is that you want to be doing. And how can we begin the process in your head of saying, I'm leaving this job, but before I hand in that resignation,
Mhm.
I need to figure out what it is that I do want to do and take some smaller steps towards making that a possibility and a reality. And then we
And what
work
if
from
somebody is
there.
looking for your approval for a divorce? What do you do with them? How do you kind of navigate them out of that?
Well, it's really important to understand when you're making a decision of that magnitude what your why is. Right? For me, I figured out, and I've learned both from my own personal experience and all of the women who I've worked with, that divorce is sometimes part of a solution, but it's usually not entirely the solution. You know, for me, I wanted so much more. There was a laundry list of things I needed and wanted more of in my life. My
Mhm.
marriage wasn't going to support me to get it, but once I got divorced, that wasn't the whole answer either. I had a whole bunch of things that I needed to do and small steps to move forward to create the life that really ultimately fulfilled me and made me feel really good. So
Okay, so
what
it's
I
all about
do,
establishing the art of wanting as a base,
that's
basically.
right. That's exactly what it is. And if divorce falls into that, that's fine. The problem for divorce is that it sometimes seems like, the grass is greener. There is no green grass. I mean, there's green grass everywhere. But, I feel very passionately that these are very intentional and strategic decisions. And so I know that it doesn't address your immediate, sense of immediate gratification, but there is a process to go through so that you know that the decisions you're making are going to get you where you ultimately want to be. That's why you have to know. That's why you have to be aware of what it is that you really do want.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And one of the things that is also so hard is that when we do speak these things out loud, there's a lot of uncertainty. Job, divorce, any of these things, it leaves you not knowing what's going to come next, not knowing what the future is going to hold. But here's what I say to every one of my clients. I'm going to say it to you. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it isn't there. Just because you can't see what's going to happen after you leave a job doesn't mean there's not a new and more incredible job opportunity available. Just because you can't see what life after divorce looks like doesn't mean there's not an amazing life waiting for you. We have to trust and we have to have faith that if we take these steps one at a time, knowing what we want, we're going to get there. I say it with certainty. So are there any other questions that came through that I can answer while we're...
Let me check with Beth. In the meantime, I just want to add an example that I believe Deepak Chopra talked about when, just because you can't see it, it isn't there. He said something about, what about babies? They aren't there at first, and then they are, and you can't reach out and say, okay, put this in my stomach, it's right here. You can't feel it, touch it before it happens, but it's there because it eventually does happen. I don't think I'm saying it very very well, but he did say that that's a big thing with him, and that's something that I've learned too over the past year. In my studying all of this, law of attraction and art of wanting, it really is true, and another thing is if you're driving in the night and the headlights go on and it's foggy and you can only see a few feet in front of you and you can't see the road, but it's there and you keep driving. So why can't we do that in life?
Because it's so uncomfortable. It forces us to, so after my divorce, I was single, right? And I couldn't imagine that there would ever be a relationship that I wanted, that felt great, and I just couldn't even imagine. But I did focus really hard on what it was that I wanted, and I worked, and I got support, and I studied with Anthony Robbins, and I got really down deep. There was one day that I had no idea what my life would look like going forward. And by the next day, I had been on a date, and I was blown away by the man that I had went on the date with. And all of a sudden, the next day, this man was in my life. The day before, I couldn't have predicted that would happen. So you can't see it, but it only takes one experience to open a new opportunity in front of you. And we have to be open to seeing it and being and ready to receive it. And that's
now,
really hard.
Now, had you done that right before that happened? Was that what you were doing? You were learning that? Did you go through that process already when you got to that point?
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, I did. And I changed things up in my life in order to be in the place to be really, to speak out loud exactly what I wanted in a relationship. And there were a whole bunch of things exercises that I went through in order to get that kind of clarity and to trust and to believe that what I wanted was going to be possible. And it was really hard for me to trust that. And then I did. And then all of a sudden, there it was. And I would not have seen it coming.
Now, speaking of trust here and trusting yourself, I guess the next person, I have an email here that says, I'm not sure, I'm just going to read it and I'll try to figure it out after I read it, but isn't it better to sometimes weigh the timing and how it affects loved ones? It sounds like they're trying to ask, isn't it better to take in consideration, is this the right time and what is it going to do to my children? Maybe that's what they're saying.
Yes. The answer is yes. And those who have heard me speak before or who know me know that one of my mantras in my work and in my life are no sudden movements, right? I always say it's like kind of my own version of stop, drop, and roll. It's no sudden movements, which means whoever asked this question, you're exactly on point, which it's very easy today to make very impulsive, very reactive decisions. That's not something that I am suggesting, which is why writing it down, keeping an awareness journal, and just beginning to identify for yourself what it is that you want so that you can. It's weighing the options is the same for me as creating an intentional and strategic plan for moving forward. Mm-hmm. Because we do want to act with honor, and we do want to act with integrity and kindness and compassion and love. That's at the cornerstone of who we are as women. So absolutely, you do want to identify it, but you can't even begin to create a plan for moving forward until you've taken out of the box what it is that you really want, looked at it, and started to just absorb and own it as your own.
Mm-hmm. And come into the realization that it's there.
That's right.
Laura, I could listen to you forever. Really, you're just terrific. I need to have you back on the radio show, What Women Want. I'm thinking after Valentine's Day would be appropriate.
Yeah, that might be a good one.
Right?
We can talk about what we want.
Yeah, I mean, and talk about really how others can get it, because you just have some great tips and there's so many questions I can see, people bubbling up to the surface, and I think it would just be fantastic if we had more time on this. So yeah, definitely, we have to talk about that after we get off this teleseminar. But we are running out of time for this one, and I thank you so much. I think you're fantastic, and you've grown so much in the past few years in helping women and really establishing yourself as the expert, the transitional strategist. And I congratulations.
Thank you, honey. And I just want to tell everyone that on the slides is my website, and they can, if they have questions or just need support.
And spell it out.
Yeah, my website is laurawcampbell.com, and my email is quite simple. It's laura@laurawcampbell.com.
So that's LauraWcampbell.com.
Yes, exactly.
Excellent. I love it. Well, thank you so much again for today, for coming on here and letting everybody know your expertise. And I'm sure anyone out there who's going through this thought process of maybe wanting to get divorced or thinking about it, that you are someone that could be very beneficial to them and help them through the process. I've seen it. I've heard about it. And I think
it's about anything, whatever you
yeah,
want.
that's true. It's whatever you want. But there are just so many females out there that are just, thinking about that divorce especially. So yeah, but the art of wanting is definitely something that is for everyone, and I would urge you to get a hold of Laura if you need any help in that area. So, and now we're going to present two of our selected members who we chose to highlight today. So we have random highlights going on every month on our online events, just how we do at the Connect Live events in person. And meet Lori Polinsky from our Chicago chapter. Okay, her company is Breakthrough Coaching Advantage. She is a certified coach and speaker, and she asks the question, are you sensing something deep within urging you to discover what else is possible? Okay, go to Lori Polinsky's website, breakthroughcoachingadvantage.com. And she is in Chicago. And we also have Myra McElhaney from our Atlanta chapter, which is relaunching on Monday, by the way. We're very excited. We're combining the North and South Atlanta chapters and making one huge Atlanta chapter. Jane Madigan is going to head it up. And Myra is a speakers board member there. She is an author and a speaker, and you can find her at myramckelhaney.com. I hope I'm saying that name right. All right, terrific. Thank you, Myra, for joining our speakers board. Be chosen if they apply before February 16th. Very exciting. Help us raise this women over 40 demographic up and out of this atmosphere. Okay, time for our raffle winner. Our raffle winner is, let me see here, I got a message who the raffle winner was. Julie Rain or Ron from Chicago chapter. Okay, Julie. Please email us at info@over40females.com to get your hair beauty basket sent to you. And thank you, everyone, for joining us for the Art of Wanting. And next month, our guest speaker is Ivy Slater for You Can Have It All, a success coach extraordinaire. And her clients include W Magazine, Harper's Bazaar, Advertising Age, just to name a few. So that's exciting. That's who we're having next month. And that's February 25th, so go save your spot on the community calendar on over40females.com. And everyone, thank you again. Have a great day, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank